welcome to this video on the module of matrices, and this video what we're going to do is look at some introduction to some features from the matrix and vector set of commands, and also to just look very briefly at showing you how to set up a matrix using the various templates. There are a few different ways that you can set up a matrix with TI-Nspire. I have a calculator page open at the moment, and the first way that I'd like to show you is if you press the catalog button, and that's the button that's got the open book icon, and then if you, in your catalog you have tabs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The fifth tab is the symbols template. And in row 2 of the symbols template, there are some templates for pasting particular size matrices into the calculator application. So the one that I've located first of all is your 2 by 2 square matrix. The next one is the 1 by 2 row matrix. The next one here is the 2 by 1 column matrix. And then this fourth one here, even though the symbolization denotes that it's a 3 by 3 matrix, this is how you can create a matrix of dimensions m by n. So with that particular template highlighted, if you then press enter, a create a matrix dialog box will then appear, and you can adjust the number of rows and the number of columns according to the particular matrix that you want to build. So for example, if I wanted to build a matrix that contained 2 rows and 3 columns, one approach would be here to press the delete or backspace button and then change the 3 to a 2. I'm happy with the number of columns, so I can press enter, and there's our template for that particular matrix, that 2 by 3 matrix. Another way of doing it is by going into the menu. So I'm just going to get to the end of that matrix, and then I'm going to press the delete or backspace button, and we get rid of that matrix template. And the next thing I'm going to show you, it gives you the same result, but it's done in a different way. So if we press menu, then number 7 for matrix and vector, and then you can see there highlighted is create. So if we press 1 or enter, what you can do is you can create a matrix. So if we press 1 or enter again, notice that this time it's got number of rows 2, number of columns 2, and we can create a matrix of a particular size or order. So if we come down here and we change the number of columns from say 2 to 4, we end up with, in this instance, a 2 by 4 matrix. So that's 2 ways of constructing or getting a matrix, or certainly the template for a particular size matrix up onto the calculator page. There is another way, and it involves a mysterious key on the keypad that you may not have used before. So I'm just going to get to the end of that matrix template, and I'm going to press backspace and delete it. There is a mysterious key down the bottom right hand corner, which I believe is called the carriage return key, and this can actually be used to also construct matrices. So another way of doing this is to press Control and then the open bracket, and if you like, what we have here now is a 1 by 1 matrix. If we now press the carriage return key, what that should do is that should add a row, and if we wanted to add a column, what you do is you press Shift and then the carriage return key. So now what we've done is we've made a 2x2 matrix. Now, have a practice with the various ways of constructing a matrix and work out for yourself which one for you is the quickest, and then use that particular way to build your matrix or matrices in the examination. Just like to show you a couple of other particular types of matrices that you can get access to from the menu. So I'm just going to backspace that again, and I'm now going to press Menu, then number 7 for Matrix and Vector, and then I am going to go back into Create, because there's more than one command than just create a matrix inside here. Notice also that you've got the facility to produce a zero matrix, or if required, an identity matrix. So for example, with zero matrix highlighted, you can press 2 or enter, and in this instance the syntax will be 2 to represent the number of rows, comma 3 to represent the number of columns, and that gives you a zero matrix of 2 rows and 3 columns. The other thing that we can show you here is if we go back into our menu and press 7 for matrix and vector, and then 1 or enter for create, and then number 3 for identity. If you wanted or you needed access to, say, the identity matrix I3, which is the 3x3 identity matrix where you've got ones down the leading diagonal and every other element is 0. If I type in 3 there and press enter, that will give us the 3x3 identity matrix. The last thing that I'm going to show you in this video is to be careful when you perform matrix multiplication. So I'm just going to delete these two so that we've got a clear calculator page. So what we're going to do is we're going to form a matrix A, which is of size or order 3 by 1. So it's going to be a 3 by 1 matrix. And matrix B is going to be a 1 by 2 matrix. So let's first of all set up a matrix A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control and then the open bracket. So that's our 1 by 1 matrix. Now if I want a 3 by 1, all I need to do is to press the carriage return key twice, and that gives us a 3 by 1 matrix. And so let's actually put some elements in. So let's say we've got 2 and then 4 and then 6. And what we'll do is we'll press enter. So that's our first matrix. So that's a 3 by 1 matrix. The next one I'm going to introduce now is a 1 by 2 matrix. So again, I'm going to press, well, just to change it up a little bit, press the open book icon, the catalog button, go across. That's a 1 by 2 matrix. The good thing about the catalog is it gives you a guide as to the particular matrix that you're introducing to your calculator page. It's telling me that it's a 1 by 2 matrix, so that's quite handy. And what we do now is we press enter, and that pastes that 1 by 2 matrix into the entry line of the calculator page. And what I'll do now is I'll add a 3 there for that element, and then this element I'll have as 1, and then I will press enter. So there are our two matrices. We have in the first entry line a 3 by 1, and in the second entry line a 1 by 2. Now when we perform matrix multiplication, we would expect the product of these two matrices to form a matrix which is of order 3 by 2. We would expect to see a 3 by 2 matrix. So we can go up and grab the first matrix and press enter, and that brings it down to a new entry line. Then press the multiplication key, then go up and grab the second matrix, and so we've got our product formed, and then we press enter and we get what we expected, a 3 by 2, 3 rows and 2 columns matrix. So that's fine. And note that I use the multiplication symbol. Something else happens if you neglect to use the multiplication symbol. So what I'm going to do now is I could go up here and bring this down to a new entry line and delete the multiplication dot. But what I'll do is I'll just go up here, I'll grab the 2, 4, 6 matrix, bring it down to a new entry line. I'm not going to use the multiplication sign now, or the multiplication button. I'm going to grab the matrix there, 3 with elements 3, 1, and press enter. So look at the difference at the moment between this entry line and the previous entry line. The previous entry line has the multiplication dot. This one doesn't. Now, do we get the same matrix? Do we get this 3 by 2 matrix? Well, if we press enter, we don't. What we get is an element. And what this is actually telling us is that in the first matrix, the element that's in row 3 and column 1 is actually 6. So that is not a matrix product. It's just telling us what element we've asked to identify in the first matrix. So an important point to make here is when you are performing matrix multiplication in the exam, please remember to use the multiplication key. It's very important that you do that.